Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am Brickerboom, and today is a rough challenge because we're going to see if I can beat the game FireRed with only using the move Metronome, and if I happen to run out of PP or get prevented from using the move Metronome, the move Struggle. I had put up a poll on my Discord to see what people would prefer, just me gathering Clefairy and me being the only one using Metronome, or the entire game being a metronome battle, and this is what people ended up deciding on. My friend decided to make a file for me and give me random starters, which I knew nothing about at the time. So, with the brief explanation out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about the rules. I'm also going to go ahead. One of the community members decided to make a small little comic about how she believes the situation went down with Bashumi making this particular file and me accepting it. Just gives you something to look at, especially while I'm going over these rules. So I can catch any Pokemon I want and have a full team for the first time since starting these little challenges. However, I can only use the move Metronome. I can use Pokemon for HMs, but I can't use HMs in battle. Fun fact, if you've never actually done this before, which you can find through the Universal Pokemon Randomizer, the HMs are actually disabled in battle, and it reads the PP as 0, so you don't have to actually worry about cheating anywhere, or even if I'm like grinding or anything like that, me using a move that isn't Metronome. The only cheat that I do allow is rare candy for leveling purposes, but I don't do it immediately. Even with an attempt like this, I will attempt any battle between 3 to 5 times, and who knows, maybe the game can be beaten at a lower level due to the fact that we have a full team. Right? Right? Anyway, as the challenge begins, we name our rival Ra, which is a shout out to my friends Ramble and Ratchet. Links are available down below. They are a husband and wife duo who stream together, specializing in horror, D&D, figurine painting, and more. So highly recommend going to see them if you want a good time. Tell them I sent you. Just because we do like to make sure that, we send people to our own. And I said I was going to do this anyway. But moving on, our choices are Lickitung, Spinda, and Dunsparce, and I'll be honest, all three of them are pretty poor choices. With a base stat of 385, I went with Lickitung to avoid the overall weakness of Spinda. As for Dunsparce, I didn't realize until way later that it had better stats. Not by much, but in a run like this, it's kind of hard to say if that little bit would help. I also thought that, for whatever reason, I think I've been playing the later gens a bit too much, I thought that Lickitung would evolve into Licky Licky. Not the case. But just so you're aware, for the video itself, to save a little bit of time in the script, I am just going to say the moves that are used rather than saying Metronome every single time. We're also going to be doing a couple different things that I'll go on to as we get into the thick of things. The rival battle in the lab goes about as well as you could expect. Their starter didn't change, as they sent out Charmander, who used Belly Drum to max out its attack stat. We use Absorb, which is a fairly weak move, and Charmander retaliated with a stat-boosted Horn attack, nearly taking us out with one shot. We lower its speed, so we're faster. We lower its attack, and it's not going great. And then with the final attack of Aero Blast, we go down. We do take some time to level up on wild Pokemon and trainers through Viridian Forest, and when I tell you, I wish that I had the footage still. We got destroyed almost by a random Caterpie. It kept getting good move after good move, and I just kept getting nothing, but it did give me a good idea about how the challenge is going to go. On the way through the forest, we grab ourselves a Pidgey and a Weedle that we quickly evolve into Beedrill. The good news is, with this, I don't have to worry about type advantage too much against a certain type. The bad news is that death and a potential crit lie around every single corner. We take out the junior trainer in Brock's gym, and from there, it's time to fight Brock. Brock sends out Geodude, and we send out Beedrill. Beedrill is faster and uses Spit Up, which does nothing. Not a great start. Thankfully, Fisher then misses us. Next move, Geodude uses Acid, which doesn't do much due to our typing. And for 3 moves in a row, we do absolutely nothing. After that, a Spike Cannon hits us, taking us all the way down to 7 HP. Not good. After that, a Frustration finally does a small little bit of damage, and the next turn we continue our useless move trend. Geodude, however, gets a Drill Peck and finishes off Beedrill. As Pidgey comes out, it goes back and forth without much damage until finally we get a Luster Purge, which only takes it a little below half. Once again, we enter a slugfest until Geodude decides to use Hyper Beam and wipe us out. Lickitung comes out, and a second Luster Purge does the job. Onix hits Stomp as we hit Encore. A Mega Kick and Beat Up are doing a job at hurting us, and we Perish Song. We're on a timer. Thankfully, a Brick Break connects and does a small chunk of damage. And then Perish Song finishes us off. Round 2. Second attempt starts with us using Twister, which is already better than the last time as Geodude flinches. A Body Slam is weak, but it does get the paralysis. It breaks through, hitting us with a weak Brick Break, and we land a soft Peck. A move or two later, we get Magical Leaf and take it out. This is going far better than last time. Hyper Voice does a small little bit of damage, and Flame Wheel takes us below half, so we retaliate. Beedrill just blows up and doesn't even finish the job. From there, Pidgey comes out, and it's a slow fight. A handful of moves later, we use Sludge Bomb, which finally takes it to red. But then a Razor Leaf comes out, and it finishes the gym off. First badge. Now, I'll be honest. We're just past the first gym, and we're already into page 2 of the script. Due to that, and to make sure that you don't want a 2-hour-long video, I'm going to be skipping any of the failed attempts. I'll still let you know how many tries it takes total. Since I reset from losses, following game time isn't really a good way to monitor how long the attempts will actually take, but I'm going to do my best to make sure that you guys are kept up as much as possible if for whatever reason you decide that you would ever want to do something like this. So after that, we head immediately to the following route, grab a Nidoran male, because I know we can get a Nidoking rather quickly. Once we're in Mount Moon, we make sure to grab a Zubat because Golbat and Crobat are incredible. We grab the Dome Fossil and head into Cerulean, where we make a beeline for the gym to see how we do. Even with off levels, there's so much randomness added into this, it could easily go one way or the other. We take out the trainers of the gym, and then it's time to take on Misty. Beedrill is out first against Staryu, and we start with a Blast Burn, and it retaliates with Dig. We manage to pull off a decent feint attack, and it hits us with a weak Arm Thrust. Drill Peck brings Misty to red, and she retaliates with a Super Potion. Those are going to be the absolute bane of my existence in this run, I have a feeling. Mega Drain does a small chunk, and we gain a bit back, which is good, and Staryu uses Memento to take itself out and bring Beedrill's stats down. Strange move. As Starmie comes out, we stay in with even with the lower stats to at least try chipping away some more of its HP. Starmie uses Mega Drain, which doesn't do much, and we only use Withdrawal. Next turn, we use Memento, and Beedrill goes down. Starmie uses Transform to turn into our Pidgey, and we thankfully hit a Water Spout and Blaze Kick to bring it far lower than I thought. A Thunder Punch nearly murders us, and next turn it uses Heal Bell. Thankfully, we use Outrage a few turns later, and a crit wins us the second badge. After that, we evolve Nidorino into Nidoking, and then head to the bridge to fight with our rival. Lickitung comes out to face Pidgeotto. We use a very weak bind, but at least it's a little bit of damage. Pin Missile comes at us next turn, and we use Rock Blast to nearly take it out. It hits with Vital Throw, which brings us a little above half, and another Rock Blast is enough to take it out. In runs like this, it feels super weird whenever I get the same move in the same battle. Like, I know there's a finite amount of chances, but it still feels really weird. Abra comes out and brings us below half with a Shockwave, and Fury Attack brings it to low yellow. We get hit with Spike Cannon, but manage to land a Water Spout to bring it to a Sliver. We lay some spikes to chip the next opponent, and then Abra gets put to sleep, but we're not looking great when it finally goes down. Rattata comes out and immediately takes us out. We send out Nidoking to mud slap the rat, and we actually get mud slapped in return. Next turn, we use Luster Purge and absolutely demolish the rodent. When Charmander comes out, we do a double kick, which actually deals a decent chunk of damage, and Charmander whistles at us to put us to sleep. After that, it hits us with Magnitude and beats us down a few turns later. When Pidgey comes out, it takes what feels like forever before we finally attack with Confusion, dealing very little damage. Eventually, our only buffing move ends us as Beedrill comes out and finally takes out the overrated Fire Lizard. That's two major-ish battles and 2 first tries victories. Surely from here, we won't have any kind of struggle whatsoever, because I'm feeling confident. After the bridge, and a lot of healing in between, we managed to catch an Abra, which we evolve into Kadabra. I'm gonna be honest, when I first started playing this, I wasn't sure if the Impossible Evolutions option was selected or not once it gets to a high enough level. We'll find out if we have an Alakazam, or we're stuck with a Kadabra, but you should totally leave a comment down below to see what Bashumi did. Now, when I say stuck with Kadabra, I want to clarify, Kadabra is a very good Pokemon, but if I have an option between the middle form and final form, I'm gonna go with the final form. But we continue along with all of this and go to help Bill. We head to the SSN and we get some money and levels before we attempt fighting the rival. Pidgeotto is up first, and we send Zubat out. We use Rapid Spin, and Pidgeotto brings us below half with a Luster Purge as we hit a Sunlight-boosted Flamethrower. Steel Wing brings us low, and we hit very weakly. Pain Split brings us up a little, and Pidgeotto goes down as we hit a Metal Claw and get the attack boost. Finally finishing it off with Steel Wing. Blast Burn nearly finishes the Raticate off, but it finishes us off instead, so we bring out Pidgeotto. It takes a few turns, especially after we get put to sleep before anything happens, but we do take it out with a dive, which, just picture that with a bird, anyway. Rain Dance is what Kadabra manages to do, and we respond appropriately with a Hydro Cannon to take it out. Charmeleon comes out and uses Nightshade, which doesn't affect us. From there, we trade a lot of attacks, but we do finally go down, leaving Charmeleon with a Sliver. Beedrill comes out and immediately takes it out. After that, it's time to grab Cut from the captain, and we head to fight Lieutenant Surge. That's another first try victory, I'm not going to complain. Now, this one, I will say ahead of time, it does end us taking us 2 attempts. The first attempt, it was mostly us using Harden, Defense Curl, things like that, and he's a special attacker, so it didn't really matter. But in this case, Surge opens up with Voltorb and we send out Zubat. Flash ruins our accuracy and Barrage immediately misses. We switch to Nidoking to offset this, and a few moves later, Brick Break brings the Voltorb below half. Taunt hits us, so we switch to Pidgeotto so we can continue attacking without using Struggle. Eruption hits Pidgeotto, and a Sand Attack misses thanks to Keen Eye. A Sky Uppercut later makes Voltorb faint, and when Pikachu comes out, we immediately hit a Blast Burn. Thankfully, that's a one-shot. Raichu comes out, we switch to Zubat, who immediately goes down to a crit Aerial Ace. After that, it begins to double slap us into submission, and we miss Horn Drill. Raichu then uses Memento and goes down, which I'm pretty sure is the only reason that we won on our second attempt, but I'm not going to complain. After that, we head to the Dark Cave, and we make our way through slowly but surely. Due to the amount of Metronomes it somewhat takes to win a battle, or sometimes takes, we actually have to go back to the Pokemon Center about halfway through. After a while of battling, we finally make it to the other side, and the game truly begins to open up to us. We have a lot more options now, so what we do, and this is kind of a ritual of mine, or at least the order in which I think that things go best, we go to the Game Corner hideout first, and then try to fight Giovanni for the first time. It doesn't make sense in my eyes to head up the tower, fight the rival, find out, blah, 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 blah. This just makes the process streamline. But With Giovanni, the first up is Onyx, and we send out Pidgeot, where we Sand Attack first turn, which pays off immediately. Overheat is a very strong move, but not so much against the type that resists it, and a poor special attacker at that. Onyx retaliates with Dizzy Punch to bring us below half, then misses an Ancient Power. We use Slack Off to gain back most of our health, and a Bone Rush misses, obviously. A Horn Attack lands a soft blow, and we begin charging Solar Beam as Onyx heals up. Thankfully, Solar Beam is also a pretty powerful move, and one that Onyx is weak against, so even with our lowered special attack, we do end up taking it out in a single hit. Rhyhorn comes out, and we swap to Beedrill, and they immediately get taken out with Rock Blast. Nidoking comes out and lands a hard hit with Earthquake, and we get a hit with a decent Mega Punch, but the good news is we poison him. Our next attack is Pound, which does take it out. When Kangaskhan comes out, it uses Magnitude, which brings us to low, and we put it to sleep. Next turn, we Dynamic Punch for a decent chunk and confuse it while it's still asleep. When it wakes up, it immediately hits itself, and we yawn it. Kangaskhan snaps out of confusion, and Crunch is enough to take us out. As Lickitung comes out, the Kangaskhan goes to sleep, and we smack a very weak Crabhammer. Kangaskhan uses Psybeam, we use Slash, which does less than I hoped, and then Kangaskhan tickles us? Then we try to kiss it. This doesn't feel okay. Then we pay it for it. Oh no. Anyway, Kangaskhan then explodes, bringing this awkward battle to an end. From there, it's time to head to Lavender Tower to fight the rival, but first, I think I've earned an opportunity to tell you a couple things. First and foremost, thank you so much for watching the video, and I do hope you're enjoying it. Second of all, if you haven't yet, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, like the video, you know the drill. We're working hard to get to the 1,000 subscriber mark, and I would love to see the community continue to grow. Lastly, make sure to join the Discord where I hold polls for Pokemon challenges and generally just have a good time chatting with everybody. See, I added it here. This way, you can't escape it as much. Anyway, back to the run. The rival sends out Pidgeotto, and we send out Kadabra, and we land a very weak Jump Kick. Next turn, we hit with Dragon Rage, which does a guaranteed 40 damage. Pidgeotto uses Grudge, and next turn we use Thunder, that surprisingly hits. But we lose all of our PP due to Grudge. As Execute comes out, we send out Lickitung due to our missing PP. Execute uses Low Kick, which does a decent chunk, and we retaliate with Metal Claw, which thankfully crits. A few turns later, we use a very weak Leaf Blade, and it responds with Heat Wave, which burns us. Next turn, we land Nightshade, and it retaliates with Strength, but when we miss Dynamic Punch, the burn damage is enough to finally take us down. We send Kadabra out, and basically begin struggling our way to victory. As Gyarados comes out, we continue with struggling, and I'm pretty sure our own recoil damage is more than Gyarados is doing to us at first. Finally, it uses Arm Thrust, that takes us down below half, and then a setup Doom Desire is what finishes us off. When Beedrill comes out, we use Drill Peck to deal a good chunk of damage, Shadow Ball takes it to a sliver, and a few turns pass, we set up Hail, which is enough to finally chip it out. Kadabra comes out, and we use Flame Wheel to burn it, so at least we're getting chip damage. Which, I'm noticing as I go through this run, chip damage is huge, because it's at least guaranteed. Meanwhile, every turn definitely is not guaranteed. Anyway, Strength continues to deal a bit of damage, and the burn takes it out. When Charmeleon comes out, we use a Smoke Screen, and then fall to Fury Attack. We send out Nidoking and Aurora Beam for a weak chunk of damage, then get burnt a few turns later from Charmeleon. Jump Kick crits from us to do a good deal of damage, but Charmeleon lands Frustration, and between that, the Hail and the burn, Freezer Burn, is enough to take out Nidoking. We send out Golbat, and immediately land a Rock Smash, but we get hit with Dizzy Punch and Hail. Dragon Breath next turn takes it to what I imagine is 1 HP, and thankfully, the Hail is enough to take it out. Dealing with the rocket nonsense and whatnot, we make our way through the rest of the tower, and not long after that, find ourselves facing Erica. After this badge, we are officially halfway through the 8 badges. Not through the game, just the 8 badges. Erica sends out Victory Bell first, and we immediately hit it with Leech Life, but it's barely any damage. Poison Fang is enough to one-shot us, because of course it does, and we send out Lickitung. It uses Wrap, and we use Sand Attack. As Victory Bell sets up Belly Drum, we continue to do chip damage with a Mega Drain. Take that, 2 HP of damage. Victory Bell uses Extra Sensory, and we still do no damage. With Imprison, we're forced to use Struggle, but at least we're doing damage now. And then Erica uses Hyper Potion. We continue to struggle until we finally go down. When Nidoking comes out, we immediately start struggling and get hit hard. A Crush Claw a few turns later takes us down. We continue to struggle and finally takes this beast down. Tangela comes out and we hit Swift, only to be put to sleep. When we wake up, we waste time and finally use a Shockwave twice to bring it to low. The battle drags on for a little while and finally take it down with a single Signal Beam. Vileplume comes out and we land a hard-hitting Strength. Twister brings a below yellow, and then we bounce on its face. That sounded awkward. We bounce on it to take... I am all messed up. Wow. Anyway, that's the 4th badge. We finish off Snorlax, go do the Safari Zone stuff, and then head to Koga's gym for another gym battle. Coughing is the first to come out. We use Bone Rush that misses due to Levitate. Silver Wind does very little damage, and we clap back with little damage of our own with Air Cutter. A few turns later, we use a very underwhelming Superpower. Another Air Cutter later, and it's almost a half. Beat Up from Coughing brings us close to yellow, and we land a soft attack with Ancient Power. We use Eruption and finally take it out, and Muck comes out to hit us hard with Revenge, despite us not doing any damage to it, which I thought that's how it worked, but maybe I'm wrong. Dragon Breath does a little before we get taken out, and we send out Kadabra. In hindsight, using a Frail Kadabra in what is probably a slugfest probably isn't a good idea. And it immediately nearly goes down to Earthquake. Thankfully, the next few turns it doesn't hurt us, but we also don't hurt it. And then finally, Toxic takes us down. We send out Nidoking and hit with a decent crunch, but Wish brings it back to healthy. We get knocked down to 7 HP with Submission and land a weak low kick before we get taken down. As we send out Golbat, Muck uses Perish Song. We use Attract, which immediately pays off, and we switch Pokemon to avoid Perish Song. But unfortunately, so does Koga. I send out Pidgeot, and Koga sends out Coughing. We use Bulk Up, which I'm fairly certain is the only reason we survived Coughing's explosion. But Muck takes us out almost immediately. We send Golbat back out, and Muck uses Transform, and from there it's once again just us punching each other. And he naturally potions up and eventually takes us down. By the way, along the way at some point I caught a Growlithe and evolved it, so Arcanine comes out and takes it out with a few struggles and Rock Slide. Weezing comes out, and I'm pretty sure the only reason we won is because it used Memento to take itself out, which gets us the 5th badge. After that, it's a quick trip to Saffron City, and we do level up a bit against the Rocket Grunts, and in no time at all, it's time to take on our rival once again. From here, the difficulty against him is going to be a significant increase, and with us using only Metronome, I'm very thankful for a team of partially and some fully evolved Pokemon. Also, I know that I might be crazy for saying this because it would probably be even harder, but if at any point you want me to do a Clefairy and Clefable run of only using Metronome while everybody else actually uses the moves they're programmed to, make sure to leave a comment, because I like to punish myself, apparently. Anyway, Pidgeot is up to bat first, and we use Lickitung. Pidgeot misses Rock Tomb, thankfully, and we use Frustration, which does pitiful damage. Yay, our Pokemon like us. Pidgeot misses another attack, and we land another soft attack with Peck. After that, Pidgeot deals some damage with Needle Arm, and we use Sheer Cold for a solid one-hit KO move. Execute comes out and uses High Jump Kick, which misses, and we use Rapid Spin, which pings it for damage. Execute using Silver Wind does another little bit of damage, and we hit it with Needle Arm. So far, it seems like this will be a chip battle, but then it uses Muddy Water, which actually does a decent chunk, and we use Revenge for, say it with me, another ping of damage. A few turns later, Frenzy Plant brings us low, and we use Extra Sensory for a small chunk of damage. While it recharges, we use Snore, which does nothing. Next turn, it misses, and we use Icy Wind, which thankfully is enough to take it out. Gyarados starts with Reversal, which does very little damage, and we retaliate with Poison Gas to at least put the beast on a timer. Rage is basically just useless, and it brings us to 3 HP. We use Baton Pass to get out Kadabra, so for once any buffs that we actually did will help. We land a Body Slam, but don't even bring it to half, and a Superpower does about a quarter damage. After that, we hit Wrap to start chipping damage, and Gyarados remembers its Magikarp days and splashes a little. Personally, I would still like to see that move do something, even if it's just like a 1 in 100 kind of chance, but that's neither here nor there. We miss a Blast Burn, it lands a Confuse Ray, but the Poison and Wrap damage leaves it with just a little speck of HP, and the next turn, Poison takes it out. We send out Lickitung as basically a sacrificial lamb given his HP and get Leech Seeded, but we use Bind for a small chunk of damage before Leech Seed takes us out. We send out Kadabra to take on its older brother and land a Mist Ball, which brings it to half. Alakazam uses Luster Purge, which crits and nearly takes us out. We thankfully use Moonlight to gather back a little bit of HP. From there, we trade back and forth a little until Alakazam uses Waterfall to end it. Nidoking comes out and uses Belly Drum, which, if we get a physical move, will be really good since Nidoking is so strong. But it uses Fury Cutter, gets Poison Pointed, it's a whole thing. Shockwave brings it to red, and the poison damage chips it for a clean knockout. Pound from Nidoking brings it below half, and Charizard retaliates with Pin Missile. Next turn, we miss Frenzy Plant, and Charizard gains back most of its health with Slack Off. A few turns pass, and we knock it below half with Steel Wing, and Charizard uses Dive, which is a whole weird mental picture, but it takes us out from beyond the grave. We managed to poison it with our ability, so there you go. Golbat comes out, and right now it's just a stall battle until Poison does its job. Cup brings it to a Sliver, and Poison is enough to finish it off, giving us another victory. From here, we use vitamins that we've gathered to buff up our Pokemon, we heal up a little bit, and then go to fight Giovanni. He sends out Nidorino, and it uses Water Spout, which brings us to almost half. We use Nature Power and do a third of damage with Swift. Next round is Rock Slide to bring it below half, and a Bullet Seed against us does weak damage. We use Water Gun and get hit with Thrash, only to transform into Nidorino. After that, oh my god, that back spray. Anyway, next turn we managed to take it out. Kangaskhan is up next, and a single Crush Claw is enough to finish it off. With our moves imprisoned, we're gonna be struggle bussing our way to victory. Not too much to cover here, since we can only use struggle, but we do eventually take it out, ending in prison, and can begin using Metronome again. Needle Arm. Or Rhyhorn, even in a Metronome run, still gets taken down with a single hit. Nidoqueen is up next, so we use Ice Beam to bring it to almost half. From there, it's a slow chip battle that Nidoqueen ultimately wins with Water Spout. We send out Kadabra, land a weak Pursuit, and a Blast Burn takes us to nearly half. A moment later, Kadabra goes airborne, and we hit it with Fly to finish us the Giovanni battle. From there, we can go to Sabrina, and this battle took us, I believe, 3 times before we finally managed to win. Kadabra immediately opens up with Sacred Fire, Metal Claw barely chips us, and we fire back with Bullet Seed for some pretty weak damage. Kadabra begins to set up Solar Beam, and this time when we use Superpower, it takes it to red. Sabrina heals up, we use Toxic to at least put it on a poison timer, and Synchronize poisons us, but a Weather Ball ends up taking us out before the poison can. We send out Golbat, who uses Poison Tail to immediately take out Kadabra. Mr. Mime is up next, and we use Assist, which turns to Cut to bring it to a little above half, and then it heals up with Soft Boiled. Great. Mr. Mime then uses Explosion, which takes Golbat out. I'm not sure if the crit mattered. It probably didn't, because Explosion is incredibly powerful, but I don't know. Pidgeot is out, and we use Present to take out a quarter-ish health. Psychic from Venomoth does a decent chunk of damage, and we use Mean Look. Maybe we'll get Parasong? Of course not, we use Lick, because why not? Thankfully, a Magnitude 10, which would have wrecked any of our other Pokemon, misses, and we use the bad move that is Rage. Luster Purge brings us low, and we fly, which is kind of weird to see us use a move that we actually, have. Oh, hey, we got a YouTube sub. Anyway, Fly hits and takes it out. Alakazam is next and uses Hyper Fang to bring us to only 4 HP. Hydro Cannon does a decent chunk of damage, and Alakazam uses Leech Seed, which takes us out. As Nidoking comes out, we begin setting up Solar Beam, and despite a flash, we manage to land it to bring it to red. And then Sabrina heals. Trade misses back and forth until Bubble hits us. Thankfully, we hit a Frenzy Plant to bring it to half, and Twin Needle chips away at us. We recharge, then Pound does a small bit. Rock Blast hits for decent damage, but thankfully it only hits twice. Hyper Beam from Alakazam is enough to finally take us out, and we're down to Kadabra and Arcanine. Kadabra comes out and begins charging an attack, and gets taken out by Fire Blast. Cool. As Arcanine comes out, he thankfully puts an end to the battle with Facade. After that, it's across the sea and through the Burnt Mansion. From there, we go to fight Blaine. And while I'm doing this, I suddenly realize the length of the video and want to apologize again. This was a long challenge run and took a while to complete. It also took a while to script write and edit, so I truly hope you are loving this. It was frustrating as all get out, but I enjoy the end product, and I hope you do too. Anyway, you better bring a burn heal, because it's time to fight Blaine. Even though we can't use items in battle. The battle starts off slow until we finally use Rock Smash to barely damage it. Ice Ball does very little, but you know what does a decent chunk of damage? Water Spout when used against us. Leech Seed is set up, and we use Ice Ball for the third turn in a very short series of events. From there, we're on a timer, and Growlithe is able to heal up before Rock Slide takes us out. Kadabra comes out and uses Focus Energy, and the pup stays asleep. We use Beat Up again, and once again, I'm thankful for having a full party of Pokemon. Next turn, we use Psybeam, which between Stab and Special to take it from red, it gets healed up naturally. We use Giga Drain to heal up, and then begin Arm Thrusting. From there, we set up Hail, and I use the Skull Bash to take us out. Thankfully, a few turns later, the Hail chip damage is enough to repay that and take it out. Ponyta comes out, and we use Whirlpool, so now it's being hit with both Hail and Whirlpool. We use Return and a critical hit to take down the horse. As Rapidash comes out, we use Water Gun, and a weak Signal Beam hits us. We set up Heal Bell, and Rock Blast hits us below half. We do paralyze it, which Blaine unfortunately heals, but we manage to land a hard-hitting Thunder next turn, and Blaine heals again. We hit it with Vine Whip, and then Ponyta finishes off with Psychic. As Golbat comes out, we get hit with Attract. After multiple times of not being able to attack, we attempt to switch, and then I remember the mean look. Knockoff does a small bit of damage, and once again, we're in a slow battle. We use Bite to take it a little above half. Fire Spin is set up for some chip damage for at least a few turns. We use Memento to take ourselves out, and it's down to Arcanine. Thankfully, a Hydro Cannon hits it to take it out. I honestly thought it was going to be another loss, as Doom Desire to hit us. Thankfully, at the end, we have 13 HP. We use Endeavor, and Blaine's Pokemon smacks itself, winning us a very close battle. Once again, we deny Bill's side quest to make our way back to Viridian City. We go through the gym, and along the way, Golbat evolves into Crobat, which is one of my favorites. I just like the design. As we face off for the final time against Giovanni, Rhyhorn comes out and hits with a Pain Split, which does nothing to him. Aerial Ace hits us for a bit more, and then hits a Rolling Kick not long after that, bringing us to half. We use Milk Drink to heal up to be brought up to 69. Nice. HP. We use Payday to finally deal some damage. Reversal hits us, and we transform into Rhyhorn. We use Mega Drain and take it to even lower health and get back some much needed HP. Reversal hits hard, and we use Bounce to bring it to red and paralyze, and then Giovanni potions up. Great. Ancient Power chips it again, and soon after we run out of PP to begin struggle battling again. From there, it's pretty easy to guess what happens. We're doing guaranteed damage, but eventually go down due to recoil. Kadabra comes out and uses Doom Desire, but Rhyhorn hits us hard with Takedown. Next turn, we use Surf to take it out. As the trio comes out, it hits us with Egg Bomb, and the Doom Desire takes a good amount of its HP. When Nidoking comes out, we use Swagger, which thankfully pays off, as it nearly beats itself down with its own attack. And then next turn, it does take itself down. Neat. Nidoqueen comes out, and we use Cut, but she hits hard with Bone Rush. The Kaiju battle continues as we nail her with a hard Ice Beam and Freezer. Unfortunately, Giovanni potions up, but she's still frozen for now. We use a Leaf Blade, which brings it below half thanks to a crit. After that, we hit with a Hyper Beam to down the Queen. Giovanni uses Astonish to give us a bit of damage, and we punch it in the face. With Godzilla versus Godzilla going on, this battle takes a good while. However, after some moves, both of them are starting to look rough, and we begin to bring it with a small bit of health until it heals up. Then we use Giga Drain to take back some health of our own. It begins struggling, and we land a Salt Poison Fang. Superpower barely hurts us, so we use Vital Throw, but Giovanni gets Air Cutter to take us down. It uses Ingrain to begin healing. Once again, we're looking at absolute minutes of battle footage before Crobat goes down. Pidgeot comes out, and I'm not gonna lie, this still takes a while, even with me using Speed Up. Mercifully, we use an Uproar that bypasses Metronome, and we continue to use it, finally taking Nidoking down. Shortly after Rhyhorn comes out, we use Mist Ball to take it out. This battle took me nearly 15 minutes to get through, but we did get a first try victory, so that's nice. From there, we head to face the rival, and I level up our team to be somewhat on par. Extrasensory deals a small bit of damage, and we get Smogged and Poison. Thankfully, Powder Snow hits next to bring it above half. As we begin to struggle, Pidgeot turns into KFC and blows up to take us both out. Kadabra and Rhyhorn are both out, and Rhyhorn uses a Sky Uppercut. We use Stun Spore, which immediately pays off. Supersonic lands from us, and Rhyhorn smacks itself, so at least we've done some damage now. Morning Sun heals up to full, and we get confused with a Sweet Kiss. From there, Rhyhorn does turn in Kadabra and heals up with a Soft Boil. We land a Hyper Fang, and then we self-destruct. So, 2 for 2. Nidoking uses Super Fang to bring it to half, and then Dragon Breath to bring it to low. Signal Beam hurts a little, and we use Hyper Fang to bring it to what I believe is 1 HP. A few turns later, Dragon Claw takes it out. When Gyarados comes out, we start rolling out, which I'm pretty sure is gonna be fine. It builds power and is somewhat accurate. As Rollout builds power, we take out Gyarados, and Alakazam meets an immediate same fate as Rollout continues to build power. When Charizard comes out, it uses Ice Punch to absolutely decimate our king. Crobat comes out, and we again trade basically useless moves until Charizard uses Rock Slide. We use Stomp, it uses Mega Punch to bring us to 3 HP, and thankfully misses Hyper Beam. Then it uses Memento to seal its fate, and gives us an easy battle. Memento has shown up to come in clutch so many times, it's absolutely ridiculous. I'm not complaining. After this all, it's a trek through Victory Road. It's time to fight the Elite Four and the Champion, and I'm going to be honest with you, it is absolutely brutal. We keep losing time after time. I kind of lost track of the individual fights. With the speed up going on, just trying to level up and everything else, it's a lot. I know that there were 29 different attempts total. I just don't know how many attempts it took each one. But we did get everyone up to level 80, and it's time to start the Lorelei fight. I do want to just kind of point out, the reason that we are at level 80, we tried it multiple times at lower levels, but because Metronome is so random, we would typically be able to beat Lorelei and Bruno, but it takes a lot of PP from a lot of Pokemon to get there, so by the time we would get to Agatha, and sometimes we would be lucky enough to push forward and even get on to Lance, all of our Pokemon are using Struggle. Struggle doesn't guarantee a victory by any mean, but I wanted to make sure that as we're going into these final battles, some of the Pokemon are still using Metronome. The challenge was mostly to be using Metronome as much as humanly possible, so it just seems fair to have that be what we're attempting to do. With that, Dugong is up first, and Lickitung uses Poison Powder right out the gate. It uses Leech Life, and we use Facade to bring it to yellow. From there, Poison brings it to red, and Lorelei heals up. We immediately use Volt Tackle and bring it low, and a Vice Grip takes it out. Cloyster comes out and poisons us and begins beating away at our HP before using Metal Claw to take it out. Surf from Kadabra does take it out, though. Slowbro comes out but doesn't last long as we use Petal Dance. Jinx comes out and we use Petal Dance once more to do good damage before Jinx is healed up. after that, it's a lot of useless back and forth until Feint Attack KOs the Pokemon. Last up is Leprov, which we paralyze. Bone Rush does a good amount of damage, and Swift brings it to red before Lorelei heals up. We switch out to conserve PP, and Nidoking thankfully uses nothing but actual attacks, and that brings down the first Elite Four member. We've had a couple issues with Bruno before, despite all the jokes being made about him, but let's see what happens now. We send out Lickitung, and it uses Luster Purge to take Onix to red, but Bruno heals it up. Fire Punch brings it back to yellow, and a weak Hyper Beam hits us. After that, we use Frenzy Plant to bring it down. We have to recharge when Hitmonchan comes out, but thankfully it doesn't hit us. We use Octazooka, which is kind of cool, because you never really see that move. And not long after that, we use Wing Attack to bring it to red, and for extra overkill, we use Sacred Fire. Rest heals us up, and we spend a few turns asleep, and Splash absolutely murders. I wish. We use Silver Wind, and shortly afterwards, Dig. But Ember still hits, which is weird. Maybe I missed it in the editing. Maybe I used Lock-On, but I didn't see anything. Finally, though, the Sludge takes it out, and we continue to use Metronome, even though it'll likely just give us struggle next battles. It's fine. Brick Break brings Onix to half, and Blast Burn is enough to finish it off. We recharge and get stuck in battle, but hit it with a Heat Wave to bring it low, and it eats a berry. We use Present, and Bruno heals up. It uses Vice... I said Vibe Grip. Gross. It uses Vice Grip, and we're not looking good, but we do manage to take it out. We're officially halfway through the Elite Four, and head to face the Ghosty Gal. Lickitung uses Torment to block Metronome for a little bit, and then we paralyze the next turn. Gengar hits hard, but we thankfully land a Shockwave. It lands Hydro Cannon to bring us well below half, and soon after, Agatha heals up Gengar. From there, it's a struggle battle, and we bring it low before going down. Gengar, also using Struggle, goes down quick to Kadabra. Golbat comes out and uses Substitute, which is an absolute nightmare to deal with. We finally use Aeroblast to take it out of that form, and we spring up. It uses Memento, so when Haunter comes out, it's immediately hit. Haunter uses Aurora Beam and Vital Throw to bring us low, but we use Recover to gain back HP for Meteor Mash to bring us low once more, and not long after, take it out by Fire Punch. Arcanine is out next, and a hard-hitting Shadow Punch takes it out. Finally, it's Arbok, and a Surf brings it to red, which Agatha, of course, remedies. Fire Punch hits it to yellow, Low Kick brings it to red, before Crush Claw takes it out. When the next Gengar comes out, we manage to hit a Shadow Ball to take it out in one shot. Alright, well, are y'all ready? It is time for the next part. Lickitung is up first and immediately begins struggle battling. Once more with this move, not much to cover. It's guaranteed damage, but it is boring. Roar is used and brings out Pidgeot, but we switch to Lickitung again, only to be taken out by Razor Leaf. When Kadabra comes out, it uses Seismic Toss to take out the first of many. Constrict wraps up Dragonair, and we use Ingrain to keep some HP. Bounce does a good amount of damage, and from there, we're using Struggle, but ironically enough, Ingrain is keeping us healthy enough, so it kind of goes alright. Thankfully, Lance doesn't get many strong moves, and due to healing, we're able to take out both Dragonairs. Even with Aerodactyl, we're able to bring it to half before finally going down. Crobat is hurt by Rock Blast, but we manage to Leech Seed as Lance heals up. Thankfully, even though we're both using useless move, the Leech Seed does its work to take it out and keep us healthy. Dragonite, we immediately Mega Punch and it Bullet Seeds us. It springs up and hits hard with Bounce as we use Rock Smash. Surf brings it below half, and Outrage wrecks Crobat, but we Body Slam it before it's able to finish us off. Alright. Final fight time. As Pidgeot comes out, we start with our Lickitung. At the very least, we make him use up a full restore and bring it to half again before going down. Kadabra uses Struggle once and is immediately taken out. Nidoking uses Memento and goes down as well. We swap to Crobat, then have to move to Pidgeot due to Perish Song, but their Pidgeot goes down. And when Alakazam comes out, we immediately KO with Frenzy Plant. With Rhydon, we manage to poison it, and Psycho Boost is powerful enough to take it out. Executor comes out and uses Perish Song, so we immediately switch to see if they get taken out, which he doesn't. We scratch Gyarados and hit this red with Egg Bomb before it heals up. Double Edge hits us hard and we bring it to half with Hyper Fang. Luster Purge brings us below half, and a final Volt Tackle takes down the dragon. Or pseudo-dragon type, it's fine. When Executor comes back out, we headbutt and get a crit to bring it down. Clamp does good damage with its water typing, but we do go down. Charizard is doing decent chip damage, but with a few water moves and a final Swift that crits, we finally managed to beat this challenge. This took ages and will probably be one of the longer videos I've made, but for those that stuck along for the ride, thank you. I hope the style I took with this, only mentioning some of the moves, was okay with you. For the next challenge, I think I'm going to do something a little bit easier, but do a Cubone run for FireRed. I think it'll be difficult, but not nearly as bad as this. I'm also going to be looking into doing a Gumi to possible Gudra run in Pokemon. I believe it came out in Diamond and Pearl or Platinum, one of them. But one of my friends, actually you know her if you've watched our Saturday recordings, Morticia Noir, that's her favorite Pokemon, so to kind of thank her and also just be able to keep experimenting with different Pokemon, I would like to use it. I know that I said a couple of videos ago there was a Ghastly and Gengar run. Those are in the works. I had some issues with the save files getting corrupted, but no worries, they are going to be on the way as well. They just may be a little bit shuffled. Could be a little bit closer to Halloween. I'm not 100% sure. We'll see what happens. But if there's anything you want to see me try, hit me up on Twitter, join the Discord, drop a comment, literally whatever you can do to make sure that I get the word. So, with another challenge out under my belt, as I always say, if you like the video, even if you didn't like the video, think about hitting the like and subscribe comment. Like, subscribe, comment. I'm even messing up my outro, guys. Let's try that again. If you like the video, even if you didn't like the video, think about hitting the like and subscribe button because it really does help me out. As always, join the Discord, Twitch, all those things if you want to keep up with everything going on. And until next time, everybody, peace out.